Power rankings. Listen, we've got our final four here, the Challenge Cup semifinalists. So you can imagine, Lisa, when I was putting together this sort of final wave of Challenge Cup specific power rankings, how the top four probably shook out for me. There wasn't a lot of change for the kind of top three. I still had OL Reign number one, Washington
Mhm.
Spirit number two, North Carolina Courage number three. Got Kansas City Current at number four. So those are the big four there, right? When we're looking at five all the way through 12, this is who I've got shaking out in terms of the power rankings. I've got Portland Thorns at number five, Chicago Red Stars at number six, San Diego Wave FC at number seven, Houston Dash at number eight, Racing Louisville at number nine, New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC at number 10, Angel City at number 11, and Orlando Pride at number 12 to close out these power rankings. Maybe a little bit different in terms of what I was going through in terms of the thought process of ranking these out for the previous power rankings, Lisa, because I kind of jumbled some things around a little bit. I think, Angel City for me closing out their Challenge Cup with a win, sort of warranted them jumping up a spot. And, Orlando Pride, while I was, happy for them to see them get a draw and close out their Challenge Cup with a result, it was a tough tournament for them. The only club in the entire group stage that was unable to pick up a win during this Challenge Cup. So I kind of switched some things around there. But a number of teams, I had them jump up a couple spots, like San Diego and Houston. A couple teams dropped down a couple spots, Louisville, Gotham specifically. But yeah, I think in terms of Challenge Cup, in terms of the top three, top four, not a lot changing there for me.
I like your top four because and they're headed to the semifinals. I tried to pick a fight and argue about some of these. I honestly did because I wanted to. OL Reign, yeah, they're number one. They have to be. They did so well throughout this Challenge Cup. Washington Spirit at number two and North Carolina Courage at number three. I wanted to flip these. My gut reaction was, North Carolina Courage should be number two. However, when I reflected on the most recent match between Washington and North Carolina, it came down to a 2-2 draw between these two sides. 3 penalty kicks called in this match. Ashley Hatch buries one, Dabinia buries one, but Dabinia misses her second. And that, looking purely at just the chances created and the opportunities, Caroline had a shot off the car that was incredibly close.
Yeah.
North Carolina should have won that game, frankly. So if Dabinia scored that second penalty kick, maybe if Caroline's shot went in, got past Aubrey Kingsbury, Washington Spirit goalkeeper, things would have looked different. But because that didn't play out, I agree Washington deserves to be a notch above North Carolina heading into these semifinals. We saw them play twice in the Challenge Cup, 2-2 draws both times. So pretty evenly matched, but opportunities given and taken advantage of, going to give the upper hand to Washington Spirit there. And then Kansas City Current in number 4. I just love this. I love this. As an expansion side last year, coming in, making their way to the Challenge Cup semifinals, getting in well on their own. I think they did a fantastic job. The middle of these standings between number 5 and number 9, Portland Thorns, Chicago Red Stars, San Diego, Houston, and then Racing Louisville. I like how this shook out. Racing Louisville being above Gotham, Houston Dash being above Gotham. I think that says a lot about Gotham and how poorly they played throughout the Challenge Cup, frankly. And then looking towards the bottom of these standings, Angel City getting that win in the very last game over a team like Portland Thorns. I almost wish it could have jumped them up 2 spots and we could put Angel City at 10, Gotham at 11, and Orlando Pride at 12. But I think that keeping Gotham at 10 is a good call because they end on a draw against Orlando Pride in their Challenge Cup group play, and Angel City getting that first win. But the play that we saw from Angel City in that final match of the Challenge Cup group stages was really good. They kept possession of the ball. They were moving it around. They looked like a cohesive team, being able to play against a powerhouse in Portland Thorns. And I was really impressed with what Freya Coombe, Kristen Press, Savannah McCaskill, June Endo, all of those Angel City players were able to put forth. And Orlando Pride falling to number 12 in these power rankings. These essentially are how these teams ended the Challenge Cup. Maybe I would switch around a Chicago and Portland, or a San Diego and Chicago. That middle chunk is the only one that maybe it's so close, all in those middle standings. And it's so hard when these teams didn't play against everyone. So
Yeah.
the regular season to come, I don't think that this is what the standings are going to be at come October, right? Come the end of September. But it is sure fun to look at how far these teams have come in the past 2 months playing in the 2022 Challenge Cup.
And it's just a little, I mean, look, it's just a little bit different when you're kind of taking a look at play in a competition, a mini tournament, right? That's taking place ahead of a regular season, and there's still this sort of perception of that it's kind of coming out of preseason, so it still kind of has those vibes, and operating in a group stage play is a little bit different than navigating a long, week to week kind of regular season. So I'm curious to see maybe the difference, not just in like the actual standings, but sort of where we kind of shake things out for things like power rankings over the course of a regular season versus a small mini tournament. But yeah, I think unlike the unlike the previous episode that we did where we were talking about power rankings, and we felt pretty confident in the top three, and even confident in the bottom three, but had some different, arguments for the middle. Whereas like with this one in the final, match day group stage results, we were like, yeah, this kind of feels right, where we're gonna go with that energy. I mean, we were looking at certain teams to end with strong finishes, right? Even teams that didn't necessarily were eliminated from advancing into these semifinals. We were looking for strong individual performances, collective team performances, full 90-minute type of performances from these teams. So sort of seeing like, the positions from 8 through 12 kind of shake out how they did. It's teams really that were eliminated from advancing into the knockout round. So it's like, how are we gonna shake things out? And dropping Gotham, even though they ended up coming away with a goal or with a draw in that final match against Orlando Pride, you just expect that team and the talent that they have on it to look a little bit different against a team that has a lot of injuries and is going through a rebuild. And it just didn't stand out for me. And they're walking away from the Challenge Cup, as former 2021 runners up, and not in this year, not advancing even into the to the semifinals. And they're closing out this Challenge Cup with 5 goals, which is ultimately a second to last finish
That's not
in
good.
in the category. They are the only other team that got less goals was Orlando Pride in this Challenge Cup. So this is something I think that they're obviously going to work on as they continue to move forward into the regular season. But we're looking at teams even, like Houston and Racing, being able to produce a couple more, 8 and 7 goals respectively for those teams. So we'll see what happens. I would love to, continue. We're going to continue these going on through Attacking Third, and as the regular season progresses. Power rankings are fun because we get to talk about all kinds of different things and throw out all kinds of different data as to why we see who and where. But Final Four going into the semifinals is OL Reign, Washington Spirit, Kansas City Current, and North Carolina Courage. We are going to have so much more. Thank you all so much for listening to Attacking Third.